But as far as Lindbergh Park, there's such an overflow. I mean, it's not believable how many people use that. So it would be nice to have a second choice for people, for overflow.
I think we had a problem in the past where we couldn't find places for people to camp, and we're trying to look at the fairground, we're looking at Le Bourget as one option, but it became very confusing and wasn't real receptive to people who were coming into town.
So is this something the planning commission would do and kind of look into the cost factors and how much it would cost the city, how much extra it would take for somebody to maintain it? Would the planning commission do that?
Planning commission would look into regulations versus cost. We're not a cost. We don't set.
What about the park?
I think you can bounce it off of both of them, come up with some ideas and let them work on it.
So send it to both places?
If you want to, a park board for sure, because if you're gonna involve Le Bourget Park or Mill Park that is suggested in here, I think it certainly should go to the park board. You could ask the planning commission if they have any comments on it to see if there's other suggestions, but I would use those committees to come back with some options for you.
Well, I would make a motion that we send it to the park board, have them address it, and if they feel the need to send it on to the planning commission, then, you know, we would leave that up to them.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion by Mayor Van Riesing and second by Alderman Crowder to send it to the Park and Planning Committee and have them come up with some recommendations. Am I saying that right?
You were saying that right?
Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next one is amend policy 15 to divert funds from the sister city committee to non-city sponsored groups.
Oh, Mr. President. I would just move that we would continue the sister city process as it has been for the last, gosh, 20-some years. Continue that process and allow them to move forward. Second.
Got a motion by Mayor Van Riesing, second by Councilwoman Doucette to leave the sister city committee money the way it is going now instead of diverting it. Any more discussion?
Yes, where does this $3,000 come from? It doesn't come from our general fund, it doesn't come from.
The arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts, and arts and crafts in the past have known this, and that's part of their goal is to put a craft fair together so they can use money for things like the sister city and other areas like that.
Right.
Okay.
Lori, doesn't also the historic street lights, the arts and crafts proceeds from that pay for those also?
It goes into the parking lot fund. If you look at the policy, it's on the back side of the request. So the money from the arts and crafts and antiques and collectibles, the city actually charges both of those organizations an amount per booth or per vendor that they have at their events. And then the money is collected to the city. Most of it goes into the parking lot fund. So it doesn't just pay for historic streetlights, it pays for parking lot improvements. And then there was an amount designated to go to the sister city. And I think part of that was because the event is held at Le Bourget Park, the antiques and collectibles is held in Le Bourget Park. So they kind of tied that together.
But that's only been for
Since what, 97, 96?
about 10, yeah, well, I thought it was about 10 years or something. But this has been going on for how long?
It's been going to the sister city since, I want to say 98, 99. Originally, it went into the parking lot fund, and then at some point in time, and I'm not exactly sure when, it's got to be one of the 3 dates on there, but it's got to be 98 or 99 that they diverted some to the sister city.
So for many years, the sister city didn't get any funds from the city? I mean, it wasn't funded by the city before?
I don't even know, I don't remember when the sister city started. I don't know that it was much before this. That was in, I'm not sure, but I don't think it was much before this.
Mr. President, Melissa Peterson is here, the chairperson of the Sister City Committee. Maybe we can have her kind of come up and kind of go through the process of what they do to raise funds, where the funds go, I know that there's been a lot of publicity on this and a lot of things that haven't come out correctly, so I would like her to kind of clear some things up.
I'll do my best. My name is Melissa Peterson. I've been the president of the Sister City Committee for about 1.5 years. I've been involved with the committee since summer of '97. So my understanding is the committee formed in 1987. I only learned about when we started getting craft fair money from looking at your packets online with that 96 to 99 range. So I guess that you guys know as much as I do for that. But all of that money, as it says in the statute there that's in your packet, it goes to hosting the French delegates who come in, do the exchange here. It goes to buying their food, buying their transportation in country, just when we take them on bus trips out of the Little Falls area. When we're in Little Falls, we usually try and do caravans with committee members and people who are associated with the committee vehicles, and there's no reimbursement to those people for that cost. There is no reimbursement for the people who host families. So it goes towards paying admissions, like if we took them to like the Lindbergh Historic Site, for example, they pay an admission. And the committee, the fundraise costs come out of that. I guess, is there any other specific questions? Does that cover what you want me to talk about, Kate?
Well, and basically, I think there's been some confusion, and you know, the committee here in Little Falls works, their purpose, their function is to raise money. Yep. You guys raise how much usually in a 4-year period?
Usually between 10 and 15,000, which we budget between 15 and 20,000 for an exchange. It depends on where we're going to take them, how much busing costs. That's the largest part, is when we take them outside of Little Falls, is the bus is expensive. And unfortunately that cost keeps rising on us, so that's the largest portion of what our funding goes towards, is that.
And so you have different events throughout the year, very
Yep.
committed group of individuals. Yep. I know it's a completely new group
Yep.
that has come in from the last year.
Yeah, the committee, let's see here, I think only 3 of us have been on longer than 2 years. And then the other 9, there's 9 of us total, so the other 6 have all come on within the last 2 years. To actually, our 2 newest members only came on within the last 3 to 6 months. So we're fresh, we're coming up with new ideas, recycling some old ideas that we haven't done for a while. We just had a garage sale first weekend of the month here, which we haven't done since I've been in on the committee, but they used to do back in the 80s. And that was a pretty successful fundraiser. So we're learning how to fundraise again. We lost some of our core members who were really good at like the dinner fundraisers that we used to do with the, we had some very successful dinner theater mystery dinner theater productions, but we've lost those people on the working committee and they've moved on to other projects, and so we don't have that expertise. So we're relearning and trying to be as successful as possible with our fundraising efforts so that we can be as self-supporting as possible. But I personally really appreciate that the council thinks that this is an important enough committee to dedicate some funds towards. It shows me and our committee members that it's a project that the city believes in and not just the 9 of us who do the work.
And I know that the French definitely appreciate it. I know Pat Spence is the one who organized the sister city relationship that we do have. The French people basically over in France do the same thing. They've got a committee, they raise funds, and then when people from Little Falls go to France, they pay their way. When they get there, then the French people take care of them.
Correct.
And so they kind of just reverse and do the same thing here, and it's kind of an every 2-year kind of thing, which makes it every 4 years.
I always explain it, it's like the Olympics. We get together every 2 years, but sometimes it's summer, sometimes it's winter, versus whether they're here in Little Falls or we go to Le Bourget. So we leave in 9 days to head to Le Bourget for a 10-day exchange where we are representing the community. I don't see it as just being tourists. We are delegates. We are getting to know these people. We are doing exchange of ideas and cultures. And we try and do the same thing when they come here. We really try and balance the exchange between what is our everyday life here in Little Falls and what are some of those fun touristy style things that we celebrate here in Minnesota that is fun. The last time they were here, yes, the trip was a little bit more extravagant. We took them up to the North Shore. But how many of us in this room here haven't gone and seen Split Rock Lighthouse at least once in our lives, or don't hope to see it at least once in our lives? And we've never taken them up there before, so the busing costs for that were higher. But this next year, we really, or when they come in 2 years, we're already starting to talk about local things that we can do here. Taking them to a demolition derby at the county fair, if we can get them when Morrison County Fair is going on. Things like that, on what it does it mean to be Little Falls? What does it mean to be central Minnesota? The last time we were here, they were here, we toured the hydroelectric dam. We took them to Lindbergh State Park. I taught them how to geocache, which that's no charge. So we do have the balance of events, and you know, those events are open to the public. We try and get things to the record and to the radio station so that we can get the word out on what elements and what the cost is associated with that. Because when they're here, I pay my own way. And so does every other Little Falls person. The funding from the city, the funding that we raise, only goes to support the costs of the French delegates. It does not support the cost of, well, someone from the committee has to take them to their destination. Somebody from the committee has to go down to the airport to pick them up. And so it covers the cost of when we take the French places. So
Okay.
we try and be as responsible as we can with the money, and all the bills that go to the city fund get approved by whoever in the office takes care of that. So.
Well, and I know we've just had a little bit of discussion up here about preserving and celebrating our history, and this is a main part of our history with the landing of Charles Lindbergh plane. He landed right there in La Bourget, France, and this is why the relationship was developed. And I know you're on it because you are the acting administrator of the Lindbergh site. I know that my daughter Gabrielle is on it. She was appointed by Brian McInnack because at that time she worked at the Lindbergh site.
Yeah.
And so people that have an interest in La Bourget and the French and Lindbergh history, those are the people that are on this committee.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it because they are representing Little Falls and they love Little Falls.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And just to make it clear, when they come here, they pay for their own flights.
Correct.
When we go there, it doesn't come out of the committee. You each individually pay for your own.
Correct.
So it doesn't cost Little Falls anything basically for the group to go to La Bourget because it's all on the hosts.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
As it is when they come here. Okay.
Yep. So yeah, there is, to participate in this committee, you have to do some planning. But with appropriate planning, if you budget it out over the 4 years in between exchanges, you can save up for that airfare. But it takes, you have to be dedicated because, yeah, airfare is not cheap, but that comes out of each individual's pocket. And it has to be a high enough priority for that individual. So.
So you see, you raised 10 to 15,000 in 4 years.
Yep.
So you get 12,000 from the city, so basically you guys are raising around 3,000 in 4 years out of your pocket?
That's our goal. With the new committee members, we've taken a little bit of a slower hit this year. We are behind schedule at the moment, looking on figuring out how to get back on track. So I'd have to go over the records for the last few years to see if that is indeed our average. I know that's our goal, but as we all know, sometimes we fall short of our goals. So.
well, and the committee's been struggling. There's been, you guys have kind of lost some steam there, and I know that they came in with a lot of energy to do this and to get it done.
Yeah.
Very honest, hardworking people, and I apologize for all of the bad things that are being said this year about you guys. You are a wonderful committee, a group of committed people to this community, volunteering your time and service, and I appreciate that, and as I know, the council does here in the city of Little Falls. So thank you, Melissa, for all that you guys have done. Thank you for all the work that you're gonna do, because you're gonna have to do a lot to catch up.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Mr. President, Mr. President, can I ask a question before you leave?
Yeah.
And Melissa, in the future, just so people know, if they are interested in going on the next trip, which would be in 4 years, or?
Yep, 4 years, so 2015 they'll be here, so 2017 we'll go over again.
Then they would contact you from?
Contact City Hall.
Or City Hall?
Yep, and then City Hall, the staff will get in touch with me.
Sure, they can have
So-
more information, and it is for the citizens of Little Falls first priority, correct?
Yes, it's in our bylaws that you approved, I believe, 2 meetings ago. It's those who have, and I don't want to misquote, I don't have it memorized, but it basically goes those who are on the committee, serving the 9 voting committee members, those who have been involved and helped do the fundraising, and then those who have within the city limits. But also it is open to all residents of Minnesota, and there is some stipulations for a guest. For example, I'm a committee member, I'm not married. It is part of my right as a committee member to have a traveling companion as a guest because of my role on the committee. So my guest could potentially trump, but that's something we worked out real hard on figuring that out, because most people travel with their spouse, but I don't have one of those, so.
And this year you still had openings, didn't you?
Yes, we did. We did not fill all the openings. Depending on how it rolls, we're at 22 to 24, so. And every year it's up to 25. And the reason that we put in those priorities in our bylaws wasn't to limit who could come, but to help on, when people started talking to me 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I had 25 people told me that they want to come. And then they found out it was over the 4th of July holiday, which caused some conflicts. I lost 6 people because of that. So we very well potentially were in that situation this year where we need to have a plan in place so that it's fair, so that we're rewarding the people who are helping us, because this committee cannot do it just the 9 of us. This committee needs the people of Little Falls and the surrounding area who are involved to do all this work. 9 of us can't raise $3,000 in a year. We need extra help for that. So the committee is a lot larger than what it seems to be. So.
Thanks, Melissa.
Mr. President,
Thank you.
it seems that we have a very successful program that has been operational for some 26 years. We are not in a position where we use taxpayer dollars to support any part of this. And there's a motion on the floor that we continue operating as we have. So I'd like to call the question.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Van
Mr.
Rysel.
President, I'm on the agenda to
Mr.
address this
Doucette.
issue. Am I not to be allowed to
Call the
address it?
question.
We called the
vote is to
question
be
already,
taken.
ma'am, sorry about that.
Yeah, all right.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
What motion carries?
Donation for the bike rack, Frank.
Mr. President, I am on the agenda to present comments about this very issue. Are you going to not allow me?
We just discussed it, we just decided that we're
So-
gonna keep it.
So the fact that I called and got on the agenda to discuss this and was trumped by Melissa Peterson because she is taking your side, you're going to have me escorted out now, I presume.
Mr. President, she is on the agenda, isn't
I'm
she?
on the agenda. I called and arranged to be on the agenda. I wrote my comments. I am
Well, we
prepared to
got your
give them.
comments, but we decided we're gonna do it. We don't have to listen to your comments. We
You don't
got
have
your
to listen to
comments.
the citizenry who voted you into these positions?
Mr. President, I think it would be common courtesy, she's on the agenda, I don't see what the problem is.
But it's been.
This has
raised
already
on.
been, it's already been over and done with, for one thing. We already
Fine.
voted on it.
I'm finished. I'm not dealing with you at this level, but I'll be back.
Donation of bike racks, Frank.
Okay, in your packet, there's a picture of the bike rack. Something has been added. It says across the top of it, they're cut on the metal, 1/4-inch plate steel, in artistic fashion. It says tourism now. The intent of this bike rack originally was to go to the Little Falls Convention and Visitor mural, but it will be owned by the city of Little Falls, so it has to be presented to you and you have to accept it or decline. It is built very sturdy. 2-inch square tubing across the top and on the uprights on the ends and on the bottom, and 1.25 inch uprights in between. As Jerry's probably aware, if you do not vent metal piping like this, it can get moisture in there, which causes it to freeze and bust out. Every one of these pipes have been, there's a bleed hole in them, so that any moisture buildup would come right out of it and stay dry, and it would extend the life of it indefinitely. So, and this is something my son and I would like to present to the city of Little Falls, and I would like you to consider it.
Thank you, Frank. Anybody want to make a motion to accept the donation of the bike rack?
I still move.
Second.
Any discussion? The motion,
Frank, you said you and your son made this?
Yes, we did.
And I missed out on some of your presentation, but is it powder coated, did you say, or?
We were gonna powder coat it. Powder coating has maybe a life of 3 years before you have to do some work to it. If you paint it with car paint, it's not quite as good, but it still has to be fixed up probably in 2-3 years also. If you spray this with powder coat, it's a lot more expensive to the city if they have to fix it up someday.
It's very nice.
So, plus, I got an estimate to powder coat this, they wanted $400. So, as much as the metal that's in it, so anyway, it will be car paint.
okay, we got a motion by Alderman Crowder, second by Mayor Van Reesam to accept the donation of the bike rack. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Resurface alleyway, block 16, Merle's edition, first edition, I guess. Jerry?
Dr. Miller and Glenn